So far we have demonstrated and explained the three components of HTML element, namely contents, layout and script. The ownership of digital assets such as a JSON string can be defined by Ownership JSON as shown in line 13. Line 14 shows the owner's hash of public key. Line 15 is the nickname of the owner Adam. Line 16 is string which Adam claims to own. Line 17 is hash of the string in line 16. The ownership JSON describes how associating the component hash code with another hash code representing its owner defines the ownership of the component. That last sentence is perhaps the most important lesson in this video and will be the groundbreaking foundation for use to build Omni Digital Asset Exchange platform. So it is worth repeating for the third time. Associating the component hash code with another hash code representing its owner defines the ownership of the component. In this presentation, we will introduce a hypothetical board game called Domino Monopoly, which is derived from the Monopoly board game, with additional new features, where players will buy and sell domino pieces for building domino towers. The domino pieces correspond to components of digital assets including infrastructure resources, contents, layout and source code, whose ownerships belong to individual users and free software programmers. The domino towers represent social media and e-commerce applications that are built with collective efforts by free individual users and free software programmers, with the goal of achieving annual revenues of $1 billion in 2035, or about 0.1% of the annual revenue in 2023 by the top 5 technology companies, namely Microsoft, Meta, Amazon, Google, and Apple. The Domino Monopoly board game represents Omni Digital Asset Exchange platform where digital asset components can be bought and sold without using cash money as the medium of exchange. This video clip on Domino Tower illustrates vividly several interesting aspects of the centralized web ecosystem versus Omni Web decentralized web ecosystem for the understanding of non-technical viewers. Firstly, to construct a domino tower is a painstaking effort and it consumes a very long time. This is analogous to the 21 years taken between the first web page to creating the TikTok application. Secondly, the video clip only shows one domino tower. In real life, there are many big social media apps corresponding to many domino towers. These social media apps owned by different companies have many shared components, which are produced by free software programmers. You may imagine the domino pieces corresponding to free software components written by free software programmers have specific color schemes. Domino pieces of the same color correspond to the same free software component written by one programmer or team, but may bear different serial numbers. These pieces are then used to build different domino towers. Suppose we now wish to build a TikTok clone called Omni Shorts. The new components required will be similar to that of TikTok in reddish colors. Further, let us suppose we wish to build a spreadsheet app for Omni Web called Omni Spreadsheet. Unlike commercial software, the top reddish components can be reused and thus result in huge savings in time and costs. This is the basis of our claims that the amount of time required to build a decentralized web ecosystem could be 5 to 10 times shorter than that of centralized web ecosystem, reduced from 20 years to 2 to 5 years. The domino pieces in the videos are like digital assets labeled with hash codes for infrastructure resources, contents, layout and control script. Omni Digital Asset Exchange is a platform where these digital assets can be traded, bought and sold, with or without cash money as medium of exchange. To add another dimension to our analogy of digital assets as domino towers, let us use the Monopoly board game as an analogy for Omni Digital Asset Exchange platform, where instead of buying and selling pre-built houses and buildings, the players buys and sells domino pieces and use them to build towers, along the plots on the Monopoly board. The plots on the Monopoly board force players to think of building domino towers step by step over time, much like building decentralized social media apps piece by piece using hash-coded digital assets. Stage 1 of Omni Web includes the following: log into Omni Web using public key. The server functionalities can be used for digital asset exchange and search engine, even without additional modules for Android mobile user interface, as the web browser interface is already functional. So by definition, we may call it Omni Digital Asset Exchange Platform and Omni Search. Development for Android mobile app for Omni will begin in Stage 1. Stage 2 will include integration of OmniHash with Jitsi Meet, Omni Shorts, which is a clone of TikTok, and tri-species monetary payment. Stage 3 is where both Android mobile interface and payment system are functional. From here onwards, stages of Omni Web will be defined by the number of users and programmers engaged on the platform. The conventional centralized web ecosystem is both the greatest engineering achievement in history as well as the greatest abuse of intellectual property rights, in that big technology companies worth trillions of US dollars exploited data of individual users and source code written by free software programmers without fairly rewarding the original owners. Omni Digital Asset Exchange Platform operates on the principle of less is more and allows anyone from novice users to senior programmers alike to isolate the components of web pages, namely contents, layout and control script, and separate the ownerships of these components, and to buy and sell them on the digital asset exchange platform, with or without using cash money as the medium of exchange. In this presentation, we have demonstrated a new JSON format called Ownership JSON containing the hash of public key of its owner and the hash of the digital asset, thereby defining the ownerships of said digital asset. To change the owner, the hash of the new owner is added to the ownership JSON. The details of how this is done will be described in the next presentation. This will be one of the fundamental operations of Omni Digital Asset Exchange Platform. The analogy for Omni Digital Asset Exchange Platform using Domino Monopoly game highlights the fact that it is a self-contained ecosystem where users and programmers acting as players may exchange digital assets and build decentralized social media and e-commerce applications without using cash money as the primary medium of exchange. Comparing Omni Digital Asset Exchange with the cryptocurrencies blockchain ecosystems, the barriers of entry for the latter are much higher, while that of the former is as little as the time required for the users to watch this video and learn the fundamentals of Omni Digital Assets. Based on the principle of less is more, Omni Digital Assets will be able to build a new decentralized web ecosystem faster and with more functionalities compared to cryptocurrency blockchain ecosystem, although Omni Web are not incompatible and can also fit in with the cryptocurrency blockchain ecosystem. Since the digital asset components used to build Omni social media and e-commerce apps are owned by users and programmers, then they shall own and share the billion-dollar revenues. At this point, patriotic politically correct Americans may accuse this being communism 4.0. Our response is that this is called Tai Chi metanarchy, where Chinese Tai Chi philosophy perceives conflicts as forces in opposition feeding on each other, and renowned Danish physicist Niels Bohr aptly articulated it in Latin as contrarius sunt complementa, meaning opposites are complementary, as opposed to Americans' view of conflicts as being black versus white, light versus darkness. The final objective in a European chess game is to take out the king of the opponent. However, in the Chinese Weiqi chess, the final objective is to occupy as many spots or territorial areas as possible, not necessarily eliminating the opponent. Within an area surrounded by white pieces, there are also black pieces, and the nesting goes indefinitely, much like the small circle of the opposite color is contained within a bigger semicircle. Metanarchy is derived from the word metaverse and monarchy, meaning self-governance through metaverse. Tai Chi metanarchy implies that Omni Web does not seek to destroy the few white men in White House or Wall Street, but simply to coexist, but sharing merely 0.1% of revenues of the top technology companies. Perhaps there are still extreme white supremacist American patriots who find Omni Web Tai Chi metanarchy unacceptable. We can only recommend watching Monty Python Life of Brian again, especially the scene about Roman soldier Biggus Dickus ha ha ha. However, even politically correct patriotic American parents may not recall Karl Marx specifically called for violent revolution to achieve communist government in his Communist Manifesto. However, the breakthrough that we advocate in this presentation is merely separation of ownerships of digital asset components using hash code, which amounts to 1 minute of thinking by men of free mind, to decide the words or code to articulate as the new digital asset. There was an extreme scenario in Star Wars where Emperor Palpatine issued Order 66 to kill every Jedi alive, including children and babies, just because they are force sensitive. If the knowledge of hash code to create a decentralized governance is considered equivalent forceability in Star Wars by white supremacist American patriot, and they may prepare to execute Order 66 to eliminate their enemies, then we can only pray that this day will never arrive.
Commander Kelly, the time has come. Execute Order 66.
Yes, my lord.